Let's kick off this explainer by tackling the biggest question of the whole story. Why on earth does a brave, loyal soldier decide to murder his own king? I mean, it's a huge mystery when you first think about it, right? But honestly, when we break it down together, it's going to make perfect sense.
Welcome to our explainer. Today, we're taking a step-by-step look right inside Macbeth's brain as he makes literally the most dangerous decision of his entire life. We'll see exactly how ambition, violence, and guilt all just crash together in one terrible night.
Here's our roadmap for today. 1. Ambition versus morality. 2. Lady Macbeth takes control. 3. The ghostly dagger. 4. The turning point. And 5. Guilt and the downfall. Let's get right into it.
So before we look at Macbeth's big conflict, we need to quickly grab two simple words. The first is conscience. Your conscience is simply that inner feeling that tells you right from wrong. It's that little voice inside your head that whispers, hey, maybe don't do that, it's a bad idea. And actually, Macbeth has a really strong conscience at the start of the story.
But pulling him in the exact opposite direction is our second word, ambition. Ambition is wanting power or success very, very strongly. For Macbeth, his ambition is this intense, almost burning desire to become king. So we've got a literal tug-of-war happening inside him. His conscience pulling one way and his ambition yanking him the other.
Section 1. Ambition versus morality.
Macbeth is completely torn here. In Act 1, Scene 7, his conscience gives him some absolutely fantastic reasons not to kill King Duncan. First off, Duncan is a good and fair king. Second, they're cousins, they're family. And third, Duncan is actually a guest in Macbeth's own house. You're supposed to protect your guests, not hurt them. But on the flip side, his ambition gives him one very dark, very strong reason to do it. He wants that crown.
Macbeth actually admits to himself that he has no good reason to kill the king. None at all. The only thing driving him is what he calls his vaulting ambition. Think of it like a horse jumping over a massive hurdle. His ambition is leaping right over his sense of right and wrong, making him want the crown no matter what the horrible consequences might be. So the really crucial point here is that Macbeth hesitates. He doubts himself. His conscience almost wins.
Which brings us to Section 2. Lady Macbeth takes control.
Notice how Lady Macbeth steps in as the deciding external factor exactly when Macbeth is weak and having doubts. She uses her influence to persuade him. She is so excited about being queen, and she specifically targets his hesitation, pushing him to just ignore his conscience completely. She gives him that final, fatal push he needs to let his ambition win.
Moving on to Section 3. The ghostly dagger.
In the famous dagger soliloquy in Act 2, Scene 1, right before the murder, Macbeth's mind is so stressed out, his inner conflict is so incredibly intense that he actually hallucinates. He literally sees a ghostly, floating dagger pointing him toward King Duncan's room. And this isn't magic. This is just his own brain breaking under the extreme pressure of what he's about to do.
Section 4. The turning point. I really want you to remember this phrase. This is the turning point of the play. Let me say it one more time so it really sticks. This is the turning point of the play. Why? Because by murdering King Duncan, Macbeth commits his first major crime. He crosses a line, and there is absolutely no going back. His life is changed forever from this exact second.
And wow, the consequences are instant. Immediately after committing the murder, this sudden, terrifying fear hits him. He doesn't feel powerful at all. He feels completely ruined. He tells his wife he thought he heard voices saying he has murdered sleep. This proves his conscience is instantly troubled. The guilt just attacks him the very second the deed is done.
Because Macbeth is frozen in pure panic, he makes a huge mistake. He completely forgets to leave the murder weapons behind to frame the guards. So, Lady Macbeth has to step in and take control again to cover up the crime. She takes the bloody daggers back to the room. She famously claims that a little water clears us of this deed, basically thinking that simply washing the blood off their hands will magically wash away the entire crime.
Section 5. Guilt and the downfall.
You can see the direct cause and effect clearly mapped out here. It's like a chain reaction. First, the ambition leads to the violent murder of Duncan. Second, that violent act instantly creates terrible, crushing guilt and panic. And third, this guilt immediately triggers the downfall that will eventually destroy both Macbeth and Lady Macbeth. The very crime they thought would bring them ultimate power is exactly what ruins their lives.
We've seen exactly how and why Macbeth makes his terrible choice.
It was a brutal tug-of-war between his morality and his ambition, with Lady Macbeth giving the final fatal push. But it leaves us with a much larger question to think about. How does unchecked ambition and the selfish love of power ultimately destroy not just the person who wants it, but every single innocent person around them? Definitely something to think about as you consider Macbeth's dark journey. Thanks so much for following along with this explainer, and keep asking those great questions.